Hello, everyone, and we have an amazing opportunity today to welcome y'all into the Excitation and Contraction Coupling Factory, or as we like to call it, the ECCF for short. Today, we will give you a thorough tour of this amazing factory and how it impacts your life and everything you have or will do in the future. We first have to begin where the stimulus occurs for the factory to start the day. The action potential. An action potential is a concept that demonstrates how an impulse generates electricity in order to signal a command, order, and create a package that holds details for the command.
The factory, when off and not in use, is set to negative 70 millivolts. This is known as the resting membrane potential. This term is used to describe when there is no order or command for a specific action potential to take place at a given time. Once the workers start their morning shifts and they clock in for the day, whenever the workers are notified of an alert of an incoming action potential, they raise the millivolts to negative 55. This is known as the threshold, or the all or none response. If the workers successfully achieve negative 55 millivolts, then the factory can send the entire action potential on through to its finished form, which we'll discuss later. If for some reason the action potential gets jammed or caught up in mechanical difficulties before it reaches negative 55 millivolts, we call this graded potential, where the action potential falls within negative 70 and negative 56 but doesn't reach negative 55 millivolts, the required to send the action potential through. If this is the case, then the action potential cannot send through and cannot be carried out by the individual.
Now, if an action potential does reach threshold, then we can continue on. At this point, workers begin to immediately pack the cell with multiple sodium ions. This helps depolarize the cell and makes the cell's charge more positive, eventually reaching plus 40 millivolts. Once the cell reaches that, the package moves successfully to the next stage of the factory. After this is complete, the signal immediately returns to its original state of negative 70 millivolts by repolarizing through the use of an exodus of potassium ions out of the cell. This makes the cell return to a negative charge in order to wait for the next potential order of action potential. There are other potential moments during the process of the action potential, specifically during hyperpolarization, which is when the signal drops below negative 70 millivolts after repolarizing from a command. This can lead to an absolute or relative refractory period. The absolute refractory period is when another signal cannot be generated at all due to the sodium channels within the cell being open. This can result in delays or no responses within the factory. The relative refractory period is the opposite. If sodium gates are closed in the cell, then there is potential for other orders and commands to be given out simultaneously.
Regardless, after an action potential is formed, the neuron releases a special chemical messenger called acetylcholine, or ACH for short, into the neuromuscular junction, the communication dock between the nerve and muscle fiber. At the dock, ACH binds to the special receptors on the sarcolemma, the muscle cell's outside membrane. Think of these as electronic doors that open when they detect a signal. Dock doors open. Sodium ions, you're cleared to enter. The entry sodium ions, Na+, again depolarize the membrane. That's what the factory language for we are charged up and ready to roll. This electrical wave and the muscle action potential travels rapidly down the production line.
Next, the T-tubules or the transverse tubules act like underground conveyor belts, carrying the electrical signal deep into the factory so every workstation gets the memo.
Voltage detected. Alert the storage department. Ready for calcium release. Sarcoplasm reticulum, the factory's calcium warehouse. It stores Ca2 plus ions, which are the key materials for contraction. When the action potential hits, the T-tubules voltage sensors trigger the SR's release channels. Calcium pours into the cytoplasm, activating all assembly robots at once.
This is a sarcomere, the smallest working unit of a muscle. Calcium now binds to troponin, a regulatory worker sitting on an actin conveyor belt. Calcium's here. Move those tropomyosin barriers. With calcium's arrival, tropomyosin, the safety cover, shifts aside, revealing the actin's active sites.
Myosin heads attach to actin, forming cross bridges, and using energy from ATP, they pull the actin filaments inward. This shortens the sarcomere, and boom, muscle contraction. When the brain stops sending signals, the excitement ends, no more ACH is released, and enzymes clean up any leftovers. The sarcoplasmic reticulum pumps calcium back into the storage using calcium ATPase pumps. And without calcium, the troponin tropomyosin complex blocks the actin again. The factory powers down and the muscle relaxes, ready for the next order.